Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. We're here with Dean Bright today, and as you could tell, it's going to be a crazy episode. Oh, you want to introduce yourself, Dean?
My name is Dean Bright. Lived here for about 32, 33 years after I got out of the Air Force.
Uh,
Um, Bought the property and started my business here.
And what's the property?
Started out 48 acres and then I bought another 280 acres to the south that adjoins and also lease another 300 acres to the west. So we got about 625 acres that we run cattle and uh, perform stewardship to keep it
That's
healthy.
amazing. And okay, since we're on that subject right now, you have cattle and 600 acres of just pristine native land. How do you work that with farming and what is it, native land asset?
Yeah. Well, it's not completely pristine because we have invasive species. In other words, weeds. So we have invasive blackberry bushes, as well as 7 species of thistles and numerous other weeds. So I try to keep control of those, just for the native environment. But when I have my cattle, I do rotational grazing. So the cattle are in each pasture for no more than 2 or 3 days, depending on the size of the pasture.
Okay.
And so they move to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And on average, they're only in each area for about 3 days a month. So that's pretty low impact.
Yeah. And they just keep the weeds all trimmed. Do they eat the blackberry bushes and
They
all that stuff?
eat the blackberries a little bit, but not enough to really control them.
That's
And they really don't eat weeds so much either. They mostly eat grass, but they're foragers. Um, but yeah, they're not really competing with anything because they're not there long enough. And I don't have any this time of year because of our climate. It's so dry here in the summertime. I don't have any irrigation. So I buy my cattle feeder steers about 600 pounds, about a year old in November, December. And then come June, I sell them and start over the next year. So the land gets a little bit of a rest through the summer.
That's awesome. And then on the land, you have lots of reptiles. And
Yes.
what other species do you have?
Oh, we have all kinds of fur bearers. We have elk, deer, bobcat, mountain lion, black bear, coyotes. Don't have any wolves yet, but they're not far away.
Really?
Yes.
How awesome. And they're not far. Like, I know we have wolves here in Oregon.
Yes.
And
They're up around Lamolo Lake.
hmm,
There's several packs up that way. And by air, that's only maybe 60 miles from here, which
wow.
is nothing for wolves. So
That's,
they're close.
that'd be so cool. And then so your reptiles, I've been here before and we take quads out and stuff and go
Mhm.
check out rattlesnake dens. Can you
Yes,
elaborate on those?
we have our local rattlesnake is the Northern Pacific, and um, most local people, all my neighbors, want to kill the snakes and get rid of them. I happen to like them, so anytime I can see a snake, it's a good day. So I get neighbors that say, "Dean, there's a snake," and I go catch it and then bring it home and turn it loose on our property. And we have several dens, so I just take them to the den sites, turn them loose, and let them do their thing. Sometimes they come down around the house, around the barns, and I'll catch them, haul them back to the top of the hill, and turn them loose again.
That's awesome. So what's the like the schedule for the rattlesnakes to come out of their dens and like go back in and stuff?
I usually figure the first day in April that it's 70 degrees, the Northern Pacifics will start poking their heads out of the den. And they don't usually go anywhere at that time because we still have a chance of cooler weather. So they'll start poking their heads out, getting warmed up, and it's not until usually sometime in May, then they start to disperse and go hunt, look for some food. And then in the fall, usually around September, October, they start heading back to those den sites and prepare for winter.
That's amazing. What do they eat when they're out here?
Mostly rodents.
Right.
Um, the young, I think, eat a lot of lizards,
Okay.
but the adults will eat the rodents, including the California ground squirrels. We have hundreds of California ground squirrels on the property, and the adult California ground squirrel is immune to rattlesnake venom,
Wow.
but the young are not. And our northern Pacificus don't get that big, so they couldn't probably eat an adult anyway.
Yeah.
So the juvenile ground squirrels are just the right size for a meal. So,
That's crazy to think about.
but they'll actually eat birds. I've even seen pictures of northern Pacifics eating other snakes. So I've never witnessed it, but
Wow.
apparently they will.
I mean,
Yeah, I suppose if they eat lizards, the snake's not far from that. So
right, reptiles. What other reptiles are found on the property?
pretty much everything in the local area. There are Pacific gopher snake, northwestern garter snakes, as well as common garters, sharp-tailed snake, ringneck snake, western skink, western fence lizard, southern alligator lizard.
Oh, I love alligator lizards.
I'm sure I'm missing something else, but
Are there rosy boas here? No. The
rubber boas are not far. I found them up on the hill above the property, but not actually on the property.
Oh, wow.
So yes, rubber boas are close by as well.
Nice. All right.
The western yellow belly racer also on the property.
Racers, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and then everybody can see behind us. Let's switch subjects and go to taxidermy for now, because this is insane. And let's just start over in this corner right here. What are all these traps?
Well, I've been an antique trap collector since I was 19 years old, so 42 years now.
It's crazy.
I'm just interested in the history of the manufacture and the use of animal traps. So these are all retired. Most of these are over 100 years old, and they're just part of my collection. So everything from mouse traps to bear traps and everything in between.
That's crazy. And what are your future plans with all these? Just collection?
Yep, they're just collection. Like I said, I enjoy the history. So each trap, it's not just a bunch of traps. It is a bunch of traps, but they were all collected for a specific reason. Most all of them are different.
Okay. That's insane. What are these bigger traps for?
These are bear traps.
Huge.
The smaller ones and the medium-sized ones are for black bear. The larger ones were produced for catching grizzly bear or Alaskan brown bear, or sold in Africa and India for tigers and lions.
That's crazy. Wow. All right, what's the history behind this guy? I have this little guy in the thumbnail.
This mountain lion was killed in around 1990.
Okay.
And back in that day, it was legal to run mountain lion and bears with dogs, and it was a predator control issue. So anyway,
Wow.
it was a fairly young cat.
And you did this back in the 90s?
Well, yeah, actually, I think it was 92. That was the year I got out of the Air Force.
And then you stuffed this and made it yourself?
Yep.
That's amazing.
I mounted the cougar and made the rock in the base.
Look at this. It's so nice. It's crazy real. That's insane. It's like something you'd find professionally somewhere.
And there are mountain lions on the property as well.
Big kitties.
They don't seem to bother our cattle, but when we had sheep and goats, they were quite fond of them. So
what's the story with the turkey up there?
We used to have lots of turkeys around here as well, and that one is one that was killed again in the 90s, early 90s, and mounted it up for a display.
And then what's with the bighorn sheep right here?
That is a Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep. In Oregon, that is a once in a lifetime tag.
That's crazy.
And my wife was lucky enough to draw that tag on her first. It's a lottery system. And so she was lucky enough to win the lottery and get a tag, and harvested this magnificent animal.
Wow, your wife did this?
Yes.
That's amazing.
And then, of course, being a taxidermist, instead of having a head on the wall, I wanted the life size to represent what a magnificent animal it is. And again, I made the base. It's not completely finished. It should have some color put to it, but got a lot of other projects, so till I get back to it.
Pretty. Wow. Okay. And then we're gonna go right next to this thing. So I know you're just got this little thing.
Yeah, this is my
little thing.
latest acquisition. I love skulls and bones, and especially uh, old things. And this particular bison is a modern bison, but it was found in a river in South Dakota and is somewhere between 2 and 8,000 years old. So it's not quite technically a fossil. I think technically it has to be over 10,000 years to be a fossil, but it's pretty close.
It looks like a fossil.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. What'd you mount it on?
I wanted to do a pedestal mount rather than mounting it on the wall. So I was looking for a piece of wood, happened to find that piece of wood in the creek on our property. And it's a Douglas fir root, just a piece of driftwood actually, and it was just the right size.
That's crazy. That's so cool. And then the rocks at the base, is that just like counterweight?
No, they're just for decoration, just to dress it up a little bit. That's a
Whoa.
type of shale. It's a green shale that was found in the creek right next to that piece of wood.
Pretty. That's insane.
Those two bison skull plates on the wall came from Alaska, and those are an extinct species of bison called the steppe bison or bison priscus.
Is that why the horns were like that?
Yes, they were about another 50% larger than our modern bison. So those bison crossed the Bering Sea land bridge during the Ice Age, came from Siberia over to North America into Alaska, and then migrated down into the central part of North America and became our modern bison.
That's
Bison.
crazy. I can't believe you have all this knowledge. That's insane. All right, let's go over here to this bear.
Okay.
Look at this little guy.
It looks little, but this is actually a very
not
old
little.
bear. It was a female, and the males can get quite a bit bigger, and I suppose the females can get bigger as well. But this is an average size female black bear. Even though it's brown, it's still a black bear. There are about 5 or 6 different color phases of the black bear,
Wow.
and
Like a
they
morph.
vary in different colors in between.
That's crazy. I don't know if the camera's picking up this bear. Here we go. Yes, it is. Whoa. That's insane. And you just get the mount online, or did you make this one?
Well, when you have the animal to mount, you have to take measurements. So it's like a mannequin in the store that you put clothes on for display. There's a high density styrofoam mannequin underneath the skin. So you take the measurements and order a mannequin that's the right size and hopefully the right position. Then you skin the animal. Of course, that skin has to be preserved, so it's tanned with chemicals and then mounted over the mannequin.
That's so crazy. You did such a good job.
Thank you. It's definitely an art form.
How do you do the mouth? Do you just
Well, there's a lot involved, but it's basically the skin on the lips don't stop at the lip line.
okay?
The skin actually goes inside the mouth as well. So in the mouth, that skin carries on inside of the form through a slot.
Wow,
So that lip skin is tucked.
that's insane. And then this guy, what's the story with this beautiful creature?
That is a Roosevelt elk.
Those are the
And-
biggest, right?
Pardon?
Those are the biggest elk.
Yes. Body wise, they're the largest. The Rocky Mountain elk is slightly smaller body. They usually tend to have bigger antlers.
The Rocky Mountains.
The Rocky Mountain.
Oh wow.
And then down in Southern California, there's a species called a tool elk, but they're fairly rare.
Are they a lot smaller?
No, not a lot.
No.
No,
I guess
but these elk can get quite large. The bulls average probably 1,000 to 1,200 pounds, so about the size of a horse.
That's insane. This one looks like a horse.
Yes, they are, and that's the other thing about my cattle. I usually have about 50 head of cattle that I raise on the property.
Okay.
And so I'm feeding those cattle with the grass off the property. But on the property, and they don't stay on the property, they come and go to the neighbors. But there's 80 to 100 head of these elk that are also eating the grass on the property.
Oh my god.
So it's very active with
Wow.
natural wildlife.
And you have that one watering hole way up top that they drink out of.
Yes, we have several watering holes. And course, for the cattle, I have water troughs, so that provides water for the wildlife as well.
That's amazing. What's it? The rattlesnake skin right here. don't know if you can see
Those
that.
are snakes that came off the property years ago,
Oh, nice.
just to display.
Beautiful. Same with all these birds. I mean, I guess with some
I-
exotic parrots.
I used to raise parrots, and like any animal that you have as a pet, or they don't live forever. So as they die, being a taxidermist, I preserve them to enjoy.
Wow. All right. Let's go with this whole collection of skulls right here. Look, I don't know if this camera's picking it up, but these
When I
are
was a
skulls.
teenager, I decided to start collecting skulls. I'm kind of a collector by nature. I've always collected rocks and pennies and whatever. But the skull collection has grown. There's about 130 different skulls, all the way from zebra and horse, pigs,
That's crazy.
llamas, bears, mountain lions.
There's an alligator.
That's an alligator. Right next to that is sea lions.
Right here, sea
Yep.
lion?
Sea lion.
That's crazy.
Sea lions are protected, but it is legal to collect the bones or teeth off of the beach.
Wow.
Then you have to register that with NOAA.
Oh, okay.
You can't have any skin or flesh.
That's crazy. There's a fish right here.
Yes, that's a
Whoa,
largemouth bass skull.
that's amazing. Look at this caiman right here. It says spectacle caiman?
Yes,
Whoa, that's insane. What's this little guy?
that is a juvenile Barbados sheep.
Whoa, I've been to Barbados. I love that island.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. All right, let's set this back up real quick. I don't know if the camera can see. There's a really large rattlesnake right here.
That's an eastern diamondback.
Oh,
I was in the Air Force Station in Mississippi for 7 years, and it was one that my neighbor killed. So being a taxidermist, mounted it up.
wow, you had starlings? Are these starlings over here?
Yes, those are starlings. Again, when I first started doing taxidermy, I needed something to practice on. So starlings being an invasive species to North America, they came from Europe.
Okay, wow, that's insane. And then the bugs. Did you do all these bugs?
Yes. These butterflies are actually all from the Philippines,
What?
except for this moth here is from Mississippi. That's a Cecropia moth. And the scorpion is emperor scorpion from Africa.
How crazy.
And this turtle I found when I was in Mississippi. It's a
Turtle.
river cooter. And like I said, I
Look at the
love
cooter.
skulls and bones. So that was a very tedious project, reassembling all those bones.
That looks like it. And you did it all on the inside too?
Yes.
Of course you did. That's insane. How long did that take?
A little bit at a time over about 4 months.
Wow. That's insane. That's so cool. Yes. All right, we're going over. Look at this rattlesnake. There's a bunch of stuffed rattlesnakes. Look at this one. What's this one?
That's in Northern Pacific. It's a little faded out.
It's
I mounted that probably
massive.
35 years ago.
That's a big one. And you have wet specimens here?
Yes,
What?
that's a scarlet snake, a scarlet king snake,
Whoa.
and a Mediterranean gecko.
How crazy.
Those are some DORs I found in Mississippi. That is a Northern Pacific rattlesnake egg, which they don't lay eggs. They retain the eggs and give live birth, but that's an aborted egg and a fetus.
Insane. That's crazy. And I don't know if you can see this rattlesnake in the tank right here. Look at this thing.
That is a Western diamondback, but a red phase.
A red phase Western diamondback. That's crazy.
And that is a pygmy goat fetus.
What?
Coyotes killed its mother,
That's
and I rescued the fetus for a wet specimen.
what? What is this one?
That's bobcat fetuses.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen any of these when I've been over here. These are really well preserved.
Formaldehyde.
But isn't there a process and you have to like change it out and let it like?
No, those have been in there for many, many years.
No.
Yeah.
Is this a cow?
That one is a black-tailed deer, and the one to the right is a elk.
What?
Yep.
That's crazy. How'd you get that?
As a taxidermist, I had customers come in, and that's one that a customer brought in. The black-tailed deer, its mother got hit by a car.
Oh, okay. What's up with this alligator snapping turtle
That's an
shell?
alligator snapping turtle shell
Look at that.
from Mississippi.
Thing's massive.
That turtle weighed 45 pounds,
Wow.
which is not big for an alligator snapping turtle.
No, they get real big.
Yeah.
Real big and real old. Look at all these rattlesnakes. Look at this one. Beautiful.
That's the Eastern Diamondback,
Eastern diamondback rattlesnake.
and he just shed last night, so he's nice and pretty for you today.
So pretty. What do we have here?
It's a Mojave rattlesnake
A Mojave. How
from Arizona,
beautiful.
and a red diamond.
Another red diamond. They
With
come in
some
so many
amber.
colors. I've seen them in like black and white.
Yeah, this is the coastal phase, which is more red, and then the desert phase is more yellow.
That's cool. I guess I'm just talking about morphs though, right? Look at this one. Oh,
It's a timber rattler.
that's beautiful. Got some shed on his tail.
Yeah, didn't quite come all the way off.
It's so pretty. So vibrant. And then these ones right here.
Mottled rock rattlesnake.
Whoa. They blend in so well.
That's kind of a classic pose where they kind of rest up on that rock.
Oh, that's crazy, guys. Insane. Let me come over here. Look at this.
That's the neotropical.
That's awesome. Costa Rican?
I believe they're from the east coast of Mexico and down into Central America.
Nice. A copperhead.
On the bottom, southern copperhead.
Crazy. Ooh. These are what we
our
have
local
here.
Northern Pacific.
Look at that. These are what we have here. Ooh. Pretty. All right, and let's talk about this bad boy right here. This thing's amazing.
Woolly mammoth tusk came from Alaska.
Look at this tusk.
The gold miners up there wash away this dirt to expose the gold, and they also expose bones that have been buried for thousands of years. So the woolly mammoth has been extinct for 10,000 years. So this could be anywhere from 10,000 to over 50,000 years old.
What are these on the bottom right
And
here?
these are teeth. So these are molars. And on the very bottom is a small lower jaw from a woolly mammoth.
That's crazy. Do you just have these molars?
Yes.
Does it go like this?
So this is the top, the grinding surface. And this is probably an upper. So this would have been in the skull. And it's missing part of it here. It's made of plates. And so as the tooth wears, the plates grow.
You can see the plates.
And push upward.
Look at this.
To replace the worn plates.
Crazy. So it just wears out the plates and they continuously grow? That's insane. Fossils.
This is a lower tooth.
Oh, that's mad.
And that's been buried long enough that it's almost turned to stone.
That's so heavy.
Heavy. But again, this is the root portion.
So it goes like this?
This is the grinding surface up here.
Let's sit like that.
Yes.
And all this is just backup?
Yep.
For what
This
this
is all
final
under.
sound?
This is all under the gums and in the bone.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is just where they eat on the top.
See that, guys? And then it just grinds it down, and all this just gets pushed up as it grinds all this down from eating.
See, another tooth
That's insane.
would oppose that on the top
Oh, wow.
and grind their food that way.
That's so cool. Huh. And modern day elephants, are they the same?
Yeah. Similar. Not
Similar.
exactly the same, but very similar.
That's crazy. Man, that's just one tooth.
And mammoths ate grass, and so their teeth are fairly flat with these ridges. The mastodon ate more brush and woody type plants. So their teeth have these big globular protrusions for grinding woody debris rather than grass. So the mastodon's a little different than the mammoth.
That's so cool. And let's talk about this thing next to it.
Okay. This is a Japanese
I'm sure you guys all saw it in there.
samurai sword.
Japanese samurai.
So my grandfather captured in World War II in the Philippines.
That's crazy.
And
And it's real, like
Yes.
real Japanese.
and there's a picture of him.
That's
About
crazy.
1944.
With the sword.
So
With the sword. 1944. That was when Pearl Harbor got striked.
yeah,
December 7th, 1940. 1941. 1941. I think it was 41 when Pearl Harbor was.
yes, I believe so. That's what started. That's what brought the United States into World War II.
Okay.
But
That's awesome. What? Okay. And then let's just turn around right here and see this bad boy. What's the story with this tank?
I built that tank because I wanted to have
Love
a
fish.
native saltwater tank. And so I built it as big as I could for the space, kind of built it into the wall. My biggest problem was that I didn't have a chiller at the time. And so the water wouldn't stay cold enough to support our native critters. So I wanted the sea urchins and sea anemones and crabs and shrimp and all the little tide pool stuff.
That's
Since we're only 75, 80 miles from the coast, and go over there and spend a fun day at the tide pools and then bring some critters home.
right.
But so now I have a chiller, but of course I don't have the tank set up for that. So I'm not using the chiller because it's tropical at the moment. But eventually I'll convert it back and set it up with native saltwater again.
And what is this fish in here?
That's a tinfoil barb.
It's a tinfoil barb. He's huge.
And he's the biggest one I've ever seen. You see him in the pet store, they're about 1.5 inches long.
It's massive. How old is he?
He was about half that size when I got him, and I've had him probably 12 years. So
That's crazy.
he's been around.
Wow, guys. That's insane. All right, let's roll some sponsorship videos and let's pay some bills.
What's Colubrid Fest?
You understand now?
Peace out, Pharrell. I'll see you there.
Woo! Okay, we're outside now, change the scenery. But I just wanted to showcase this beautiful property. And of course, it's not going to do it justice. You can't really see anything. But so you own from all of that mountain up there, all the way around. And there's mountains over there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Basically,
Like a bowl.
the body of the property is a 1/2 mile wide and 1 mile deep, and then a little more on top of that, and then the lease property on top of that. So
That's insane. And all of it just to help protect wildlife.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Okay. And then, so like he said earlier too, there's a bunch of rattlesnake dens here. I actually will get calls for nuisance rattlesnakes and stuff like that and then bring them here as well.
Yep.
Have
Relocate.
quite a diversity here. And then I was here in what, April, Martin?
something like that. in the
April,
spring,
May? Yeah.
probably May.
And then that's when the rattlesnakes are starting to come out too. That was really fun. And then you said they go back in like November,
Yeah,
October, November.
October. No, it depends on the weather. But
Nice.
yeah, they go back to the den sites in the fall. And then, of course, once it gets cold, they're sleeping for the winter.
And then so with the snake dens themselves, how are those formed?
Well, it's all natural. The snakes don't build anything, they don't dig anything.
Okay.
But in order for them to have the conditions they want, number one, it has to be dry through the winter because they don't want to get wet. That could be dangerous for them. But it has to be deep enough in the ground to keep them from the frost, which we don't have real cold weather here either. But they're almost always on a south-facing rocky slope.
Wow.
And generally, there has to be cracks in the rock for them to get underground. But sometimes they'll just den in a rodent burrow. If it goes deep enough, has the right conditions. So the south-facing slope gives them a dry spot that gives them southern exposure so they can get that early spring and late fall sun.
That's amazing. There's so much thought put into it if you're a rattlesnake.
In fact, I've actually found rattlesnake dens in Eastern Oregon using my compass.
Oh my gosh, really?
Been out on a rock bluff. And it's like, wow, that looks really snaky. I bet you that would be perfect. And get out my compass and it's facing west. I'm like, oh. So I looked, and about a mile and a half to the south was another rim rock. Went down there, rattlesnake den.
Wow. Because it was southwards facing.
Yep.
That's insane. So what if you're on the other side of the United States on the East Coast? Because we're on the West Coast. Is that
Well,
influence
it
it?
more depends on which side of the equator.
Hmm.
So in Australia, for instance, things are backwards to
Okay.
what it is. So on the northern hemisphere, from Oregon to say New York, the exposures are pretty much the same because
Okay.
the sun goes east to west. But like I said, once you go
South.
south of the equator, instead of a south-facing slope, you look for a north-facing slope because it's got to face toward the sun, and the sun is closest to the equator. So
That's crazy. Okay, and then before we wrap up this show, I want to talk about forestry with you because
Oh,
you've
sure.
done some forestry classes and everything.
yes.
What have you learned and like taken onto this beautiful property of yours?
Well, there's a lot of aspects to forestry, and a forest is kind of like a garden.
Okay.
You know, if you have too many trees, that's not good for the forest because competition. So if you're growing corn or carrots and you have too many weeds, those weeds are taking moisture and nutrients from the soil, and your crop's not going to do as well. Well, trees, we don't think about it, but if your trees are too close together, it's the same thing. They're competing with each other. And then if a wildfire comes through, they're too close together and the fire just goes tree to tree to tree to tree and burns them all up and they're all dead. But if those trees are farther apart and limbed up on the bottom, the fire can go through on the ground underneath of them and it won't ever burn hot enough to hurt the trees.
Wow.
So ladder fuels, which will bring that fuel from the ground up into the crown of the tree, if you need to control that, as well as just woody debris on the ground.
Wow.
So
And how
there's
do
a
you
lot.
control it here?
It's kind of hard because just me, and so with 600 acres, yeah, it's kind of a process. But also, I try to keep fire lanes. So a lot of the roads that are on the property, I'll try to control the brush on both sides.
Okay.
So if a fire were to come through, I have some place that I can make a fire break to try to stop it before it spreads farther.
Smart.
Never had a wildfire on the property, but you have to be prepared.
And you have streams that run year
We have
round?
seasonal creeks.
Okay.
In the winter, we have lots and lots of water.
Okay.
But this time of year, there's still water there, but it's down to a slow enough stream that it's actually running underground. So there's not much water above ground this time of year.
And do you have well water here?
We do, as well
Nice.
as spring water.
Oh, nice.
Springs, if you know anything about geology, Most of the springs are actually at the top of the hills,
Okay.
and that's where the water comes up from underground because of the tectonic plates and the way those hills were formed from pressure, and that ground was uplifted. So the bedrock gets cracked, the groundwater under pressure goes up through those cracks and comes to the surface. And so the water comes to the surface up on the hill and then runs downhill, which is why we have creeks,
Wow.
as well as drainage just from rain.
That's amazing. That's so crazy. Okay. So yeah, you're definitely going to be back on this episode a lot. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing
Sure.
this beautiful property with us. We'll have to come back on and do like a rattlesnake den episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Yeah,
I have lots of
We'll do it.
footage too of it. And then when they go back in, we can catch them, right?
sure.
Because they'll go back in, and do they come back out and kind of, do
Yes,
that?
yes.
Soak up the last little bit of rays of sun?
It's harder to catch them in the fall. It's easier to catch them in the spring because, like I said, first days in April that it's 70 degrees, I know to go look. But in the fall, depending on how the weather runs, they can be earlier or later. But yeah, we can go look.
That's insane. All right, I'm super excited, and we'll definitely have you on for more episodes. Thanks for coming on,
Thanks for coming.
and thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great one, and see you on the next episode. Bye.